Happy birthday to me. I made it. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. All right, today we're checking out Panama City with an excursion called the Biological and Cultural Diversity of Panama. We'll start by visiting the Punta Culebra Nature Center with a special tour just for us since it's part of the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute. Next, we'll explore Casa Antiguo, the old colonial area of the city and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a guided walking tour through a historic neighborhood that shows off the city's rich past. After that, we'll have lunch in the city, then head to the Biodiversity Museum, designed by architect Frank Gehry. We'll see an exhibition put together by scientists from the Smithsonian Institution and the University of Panama, cool, about Panama's ecology. It is going to be a long day, and that's okay, I'm ready for it, but it is a special day for me, so I plan to fully soak in the experience while trying to capture as much video and photos as I can throughout the day. Happy birthday to me. Today I am 50, believe it or not. Figured I'd start out here just to see that we're already ported in Panama City and our neighbors are the Coast Guard. Kind of cool. So today we are in Panama City, and then yesterday I got lucky enough to be able to schedule a spa appointment today in the afternoon. So yesterday I went in, got lucky, was able to schedule something for today, and so I'm gonna have a spa day when I get back. So that's it. All right, happy birthday to me. that's it for the nature center. It was pretty cool. I tried to take as much pictures and videos as I could, but also wanted to be in the moment and see it with my eyes and not through the camera. Saw my spirit animal, the sloth. He started moving and then later came out to eat. I'm like, yeah, that tracks. That's why it's my spirit animal. Only gets up and moves when he gets hungry. Also noticed that there was a couple of railroad tracks here, and asked one of the ladies, and she said it was for a big ass cannon, in other words, and that's how they moved it on the base here, when it used to be a base occupied by the U.S. Army, Amador, which is where the island gets its name. So yeah, pretty cool. Guess we'll find out where we're going next, but hey, so far so good. I would definitely love to come back if possible. They said they do mainly school children and universities, but they will do families on the weekend. So this is one of those things where if you want to come see it as part of the general public, you got to come on the weekend. Very cool. On to the next.
A Spanish guy who found the first town or the first city in the Pacific side. Remember, this is the Pacific, the other side is the Caribbean, where you've been yesterday in San Blas, Colon, and all that. So you cross the canal after, and then you are in the Pacific side. The town in Casa Antiguo is very interesting also because you have several influence, cultural, architectural, and because the number one people that arrived to Panama and the Pacific side, of course, was the indigenous, of course. We have this town outside of the old town, which was named by the Spanish Los Arrabales. And the old Panama, or Casa Antiguo, San Felipe, it was founded by the Spanish. But then what happened? The Spanish left, what happened? No, the French arrived in 1800. Around 1875, they arrived to kind of this project to build the Panama Canal, but the level of the ocean, the sea, is not different. The difference is the topography. The engineer in charge, they have this amazing idea. That is Carter and Torrijos. Carter and Torrijos, they were the guys or the people, or he was not a president of Panama. Torrijos was not the president during that time for the Panama. Carter, yes, he was president of the United States. So Carter and Torrijos was not the president of Panama. He was the general in charge of the militaries in Panama. And the president of Panama gave him the mission to go sign this treaty with Carter that give us 65 more years for the Americans for manage the Panama Canal until 1999. That was the last year of the bases here in Panama. So the 31st December 1999, the last soldier left Panama. 1989, Noriega was caught by the Americans, and the army of Panama completely disappeared. Just take a look at this monument here in your left side. This is a monument for Arnulfo Arias Madrid. This Arnulfo Arias Madrid, this guy, this president, was very, very appreciated and loved by the people. More for the indigenous, because he gave to the indigenous and also the woman the right to vote. So in this area, we still have houses that was from the U.S. Army and the Navy. And also you are going to see the difference between here and there, because we have a very interesting history that happened just in this cross here. In this side of this road, here was America until 1999. We had a separation from here.
You're looking at old America.
to there,
1999.
America, and from here to where we are gonna go is
now
Panama.
we're back in Panama.
For more than 80 years, we have 80 kilometers of Panama was American. Do you see the difference between one and the other one? This is El Chorrillo, where Mano de Piedra Duran born. Roberto Mano de Piedra Duran, very famous boxer, very famous, 5-time champion of box. He born here in this area. The name is El Chorrillo. El Chorrillo. Very interesting, still interesting place. And so this was Panama. We are gonna hit Casa Antiguo. The country of Panama is one of the smallest population in Latin America, with just 5 million people. To be exact, is 4.7 million. 4.7 million. That is very small population. It's the second smallest population in Panama after Belize. After Belize. So, and also the economy, just to talk a little about the economy in Panama, which is kind of different from the other countries. We are not a bigger producer of many things. The number one of the main economy in Panama is, of course, canal. 30% of the revenue from the canal, ladies and gentlemen, 30% of the revenue from the canal, it goes directly to the government. The other 70% is for manage the canal. It's the most important company in Panama. Second economy in Panama, what? Banking.
Oh yeah.
Banking. Banking. Yeah, of course.
Obviously, I didn't get
We
that.
have more than 200 different banks here in Panama.
Sounds like Texas.
You know. Yes. Open a company, close a company, open a company. So that's the second economy here in Panama, but for sure, for us, the most important is the canal. Logistic, transportation, shipping, that is the most important.
All right, we had to get off the bus and walk because they had the road closed for construction. Looks like they were building some sort of water line. I took pictures earlier, but we'll see.
Museum. It's very interesting because this museum is by a theme. Every time that we are gonna visit the exposition, we are gonna have a guide that is gonna explain us everything about what we are seeing. You have the pre-Columbians department. We have the evolution when Panama as an isthmus put together the two Americas. Also, the most interesting about this museum is the architecture, because the designer, the architect, it was, unfortunately, he passed not far time away, Frank Gehry, the famous Canadian architect.
First of all, the Biomuseo is a museum dedicated to Panama's biodiversity. Panama is one of the most biodiverse places in the world. Biodiversity is a variety of organisms. In Panama, we have several thousands of species of plants and animals because of Panama's condition as a tropical place, but also because of its geographic position between two main continents, North and South America, and at the same time between two different oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific. So here at the Museo, you will also explore Panama's incredible natural history. So since the moment Panama was below the ocean, when Panama emerged around 3 million years ago, and how it connected North and South America, it separated the ocean, and in the process, how Panama changed biodiversity in the whole world. If you want to talk about biodiversity, you have to mention Panama, because not just Panama is a very special place to understand the concept of biodiversity, but also the formation of the isthmus of Panama changed biodiversity worldwide, and you're going to see why here. How do we know this? We know that because of the Smithsonian. Okay, the Smithsonian institution has been working here in Panama for over 100 years now, and they have been exploring Panama's mountains, forests, and seas for more than 10 decades. And through that process, they have found evidence that suggests that Panama literally changed the world. So when we realized about this important history, we wanted to celebrate that history, and we hired one of the most renowned architects in the world, Frank Gehry, to come and design a museum about biodiversity. And this is the result. So now let's talk a little bit about kind of the Biomuseo's architecture. So have you heard about Frank Gehry? He recently passed away in past December, I think. So Frank Gehry is considered one of the most influential architects of our time. He has designed He designed several buildings around the world. Probably his best known building is the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, in Spain, not the one in New York, guys. The one in Spain, okay? And this, the film story, is only work in Latin America, okay? He already had a special connection with Panama because it turns out that Frank Gehry's wife is Panamanian, okay? Her name is Berta. Okay, so when he was assigned this building, he wanted me to or to celebrate Panama biodiversity. So take a look at the columns. The columns are meant to look like trunks of trees. The diagonal pieces are like branches. And then the roots are like a canopy of the rainforest. And you have a private column on this picture.
Ooh-wee. What a day. Glad to be back here. It was good. It was a fun day. I tend to get a little bit embarrassed when things are about me. I'm not really used to that, and I'm okay at celebrating my birthday when it comes to family and friends, but kind of public places like that, and they come out and they're singing and got a big old cake. It was a little bit embarrassing, but I just kind of went with it. I felt my face getting red, and people were kind of chuckling and looking at me as the cake was coming in. But the cake was really good. I was already full. We had a full buffet. Had already had some desserts. So I didn't eat as much of that as I wanted to, but it was really good. It was really nice. I definitely appreciated them celebrating and them kind of, remembering that, since I walked out this morning. The first time I even walked out of the room and saw one of the crew members, the first thing Sandra said to me, she was like, "I think I'm supposed to tell you something today." And I was like, "You are?" And she was like, "Yeah, happy birthday." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah. So just been kind of an ongoing thing. And then, of course, with the singing and everybody, it was like all the groups had come together to eat lunch. And afterwards, it was just, people coming up. I guess it was a good conversation starter of people coming up and, congratulating me. And one guy, came up. He was like, "Do you mind if I ask how old you are?" Told him he could take a guess. I said, "Up or down?" I said, "My feelings are going to get hurt." And he said 42. And I was like, "No, 50. He was like, "Oh." He was like, "There's like 3 groups of humans. We got babies and then adults and then the elders." He was like, "You just got into the elder category." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I feel it. All right, I'm gonna take a quick shower and then I'll be back. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff that's prepared on the boat. I think they announced something about dance classes, and I don't know. We'll see how I feel about after the massage, and I don't know. Just gonna go with the flow, see what happens. All right. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. End of day 5 on the cruise. Did a whole bunch of stuff in Panama City. A lot of walking. Bought some things. Pretty cool. Came back to the ship. Had a massage. I was lucky to get an appointment for today. But I did, so that was pretty cool. Then went and had dinner, and people, a couple of ladies that I had met, their sisters-in-law, of course, told the wait staff that it was my birthday. So nonetheless, they ended up embarrassing me again, but it is what it is. It was some sort of sorbet with mango in it, some macaroons, and then that was followed by a show called Amazonia, where the dancers came on board, and we have a singer and all that stuff that's just entertainment that they give us, followed by some dancing. So again, of course, everybody knows it's my birthday, and it's just embarrassment upon embarrassment. Called me up to start dancing. Did that. I didn't do much recording because that's not something that I even want recorded, but definitely wasn't dressed my best. It's one thing that I'm learning a lesson on is the type of clothes to bring. What I didn't take into account was the time after the excursions and the type of clothes needed for that. When I was packing, it was like, oh, okay, today we're going to be, kind of urban environment. I packed my clothes for that, but that was it. That's all I thought, as if we were going to be out there all day and never back on the boat. So definitely learning that lesson. But I'm also learning that while they say that, they prefer not to have, people with flip-flops and shorts and things like that, in the restaurant for dinner time. Obviously, they're still allowing it. They're not going to turn anybody away. Most of the people are dressing nice, as if it's just a nice dinner, not vacation clothes, if that makes sense. So, anyway, again, another piece of lesson learned. After that, there was just some, dancing, and But yeah, I mean, overall, it's been a fun day of nothing but, happiness and gratitude from the crew, and, even the crew coming up, and, from the waiters to, the MCs to, the activities director to, wait staff. Got a nice little card from the captain that looked like he signed. It's just been really nice, and everybody's just, I don't know, just been nice. It's not really something that I bask in when it comes to that kind of attention. So it was just, I don't know, it's just odd and weird. But as the day went on, as the night went on, I just, began to embrace it. Other people are, it was important for other people to, wish me happy birthday and congratulate me on having a birthday. That, I just kind of ran with it, and, all I could do is say thank you. And that's just what I did, was say thank you and just be, eternally, grateful, or just be really grateful for, them thinking of me. And I don't know, it's kind of cool. I just liked it. It was, grand scheme of things, it is what it is. And, tomorrow's another day. So, happy birthday, Mom. It's your birthday as much as it is mine. Which is funny, because I told the ladies that I was sitting with at dinner that, and told them that I called you and wished you a happy birthday. And they're like, oh, it's your mom's birthday too? And I was like, well, I mean, technically yes, because she birthed me on this day. And they busted out laughing. I'm a comedian here on the ship. Man, I tell you, I'm like the funniest person alive, and it's hilarious. It's cracking me up. How easy it is to make everybody laugh. I don't know. One of the ladies that I sat with, she has kids, 45 and 47, and her and I are acting like we're just best friends and talking and laughing it up. So it's pretty funny how, here I am with, somebody else's mom chilling on the cruise, drinking, laughing at people, talking about people. It's actually pretty funny. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, a lot of interesting people, a lot of interesting stories that I've gotten to hear. So pretty cool. Tomorrow we have our day at sea. We have our program. Looks like first lecture's at 10. I think the next lecture is at 3. And then there's just a whole bunch of stuff filled in between lectures, and then in the evening. So other than that, I am pretty tired. We're cruising now. I have no idea where we're at in the middle of the freaking ocean. It's dark outside. Yeah, so that's it. That's my 50th birthday, and loved every minute of it. Thank you, God.